Most large companies think Section 174 is something they can handle internally. And honestly, at first, that makes perfect sense. You already have the data. You already have internal tax resources. You already have sophisticated systems and processes. So the assumption is simple: we'll just do it ourselves. But over the past few years, we've seen a very different reality emerge. At DST Advisory Group, we work with many large public and private companies on their Section 41 R&D tax credit studies. During those engagements, our team becomes deeply familiar with a company's financial data, expense structures, engineering activities, and project tracking systems. Then something interesting happens. Months later, we start getting calls from those same companies asking for help with their Section 174 calculations. Not because they don't have access to the data, because applying Section 174 rules to that data is far more complicated than expected. The issue isn't availability of information. It's interpretation. Different classifications. Different rules. Different risk exposure. What many companies expected to be a straightforward internal process often becomes time-consuming rework, cross-functional frustration, and uncertainty around whether the methodology is actually correct. And that uncertainty matters. Because Section 174 is not just a compliance exercise anymore. It's a data interpretation challenge. That's where specialized expertise can make a significant difference. At DST, our technical team is made up of tax engineers, CPAs, and former IRS agents who understand both the technical and financial side of R&D tax incentives. That combination allows us to bridge the gap between raw data and defensible tax positions. In several situations, we've helped clients extract and interpret Section 174 related data even when we were not formally engaged to perform the work. Not because their teams weren't capable, but because these rules require a level of technical specialization that most companies underestimate. The organizations navigating Section 174 most successfully are not necessarily the ones with the largest internal departments. They are the ones willing to pressure test their methodology before small issues become larger exposure areas. If your company is currently working through Section 174 calculations, or if you would like a second look at your current approach, DST Advisory Group would be happy to help. Contact us for a complimentary scope out or review of your claim to identify potential exposure areas and opportunities for improvement.